What's good, guys? So I'm just taking a quick trade on Ethereum. Um, Currently at the highs right now. And the reason why I've taken the trade is because I'm looking for price to come back into these vector candles. Okay. Paying attention to Bitcoin rejecting the 50 EMA. Green vector candle can't go anywhere, as you can see right here, right there. And I've got exo charts showing me an imbalance, and I'm paying close attention to it. That's the imbalance right there inside of there of the 4-hour time frame. Now, what I'm looking for primarily is a very quick trade, but I see that the bids are starting to pick up at this point. The offers seem to have lost the range, but the bids are starting to come in. So the next logical spot for price to go towards is this area here. And this is what I look for. I look for price to come down towards these points. Okay. And the idea is that I'm looking for price to effectively clear the green vector candle region and then just make a little bit of cash and walk away. Now, my size is relatively big. I'm using 106 on a contract size, and I'm effectively trying to just trade the logic. The trade overall is going to cost me what? Yeah, it's cost me $129 to open the trade. If I close it again, it's going to give me another $125, $130 cost. Right now, I'm at $600 gain, but I'm waiting for that flush of liquidity to come down. And that's what I'm looking at. These are the sort of trades that I take with high leverage. That's what I gun for. I gun for that sort of flavor. Okay, quickly going over into the exo charts just to quickly have a look at where we are over there. That we're going into the imbalance, but we've got to be careful because they can reverse from here. There's a little imbalance there that could come back up and take, but it all depends on how fast they're going to decide to move down. Net longs are closing, okay, and some shorts are starting to open. Open interest is coming down. Long covering is coming into play, so I'm trading the logic that that's going to continue for a short moment, okay? So the idea is if they do actually succeed at eating this imbalance up here and then coming back down again, which is the flow that they're giving me. So they come down, they reverse, come down, reverse, come down, reverse. One more sweep lower to go into the value areas. You can see here, look at that, the volume bars. Let me just bring it across. See that? We're going into a small area of volume. So it's going to try and tap that, and it's made an initial reaction to it. Come back up to revert back down again, which is usually what happens when you're trading vectors. See, that's bad news for me because I've got a green vector candle, but price could then open up again and recover the green vector candle. So it could be some short covering coming into play. Some guys have gone short, but I'm expecting them to continue with the move lower just to finalize the imbalances inside of this range. Okay. And it's not too much of a move to the downside to scare people off as such, but I'm just trading the logic of going back into the vector candle. So here we go. Here's the start of the new candlestick right there. I'm looking for it to come up a little bit, fill the imbalances on EXO that I've got up here, and then try and roll price back down towards that green vector and then sustain the idea of bringing it back down again. So I need to pay attention to how Bitcoin is behaving at that point. Let's get rid of that. And then work out if they are going to sustain this short-term momentum to the downside. 5 and 13 EMA crossing over the 50 EMA. So everything is saying to me short-term, that momentum's coming into play. Now, we've just got this area here where offers are being triggered. So that's probably where price is starting to make a little bit of a bounce. But look, they've recovered the imbalance up there. Okay, so the idea is that we're now looking for bids to start coming into play again because they loaded up and they realized a return. Now they're going to go in for the next wave of movement to the downside. That's the logic. We're looking for that. Open interest just taking a nosedive. There's lots of long coverings. They're going to be forcing themselves quickly get out because they don't want to lose any profits. But that's where I think price is going to speed up. There's the recovery of the vector. And we just need to see Bitcoin try and roll over and Ethereum to just break this range and come back into these guys who previously went long. Okay. I'm not looking for wild movements, guys, especially with the leverage that I'm using and the size. I'm looking to get in as long for as short period as possible with the most amount of capital that I can sustain and not put myself too much at risk, but at least generate a decent return. So I'm going to wait to see if they can actually break this point right here, fully recovering the vector. And if they can sustain that, then we're going to be going into these these imbalances and start going into value area. So let's see if they can do that. See the offers, the bids right there. I want to see them starting to pick up. But as you can see, when you see that volume bar right there moving forward, okay, moving to the left, it means that bids are winning. When it moves down, it means that the offers are taking over, okay? So as long as they can keep these two green bars here, I'm of the logic that they're going to try and work their way back down again. But notice, look, I'm in an area where there previously was offers, so that could start triggering people to buy as such. And you can see it's starting to work its way back up again. So I've got to be very careful with this zone in case they do decide to make a sharp reversal. I'm going to wait and see if they can actually sustain it. I've got offers coming up there. The bids were down there. I think they're going to gun for that liquidity down below. Lots of offers there. So that could be someone just closing off some shorts. Now they've hit the shorts, come back down again, force the longs to cover their positions. and then just try and work their way lower. Let's see if they can actually do it. Should get out once they hit the daily value area high region itself. Look, these low volume nodes right here. Yeah, that little bit there. I'm not liking that. I need to see that reduce so that the bids are absorbing that. Yeah, it's increasing. I don't want that. I want that to reduce. There you go. That's good news. Could see a little bit of a sweep lower. Try and see if they can attack the range. I need to see bids coming in here. Historically, the market should react and give me some more bids inside of this range to here, which would then naturally lead price to work lower. Here we go. There she is. Right. Okay, let's see if they can do it. They've swept that liquidity there. Bids are coming at the top side of the candle. So there's pressure in that area. Someone's going short in here. No longs coming in yet. Need to really see them try and attack this. This is a shocking reversal. It's usually what happens when you're trading these sort of instances. But that's what Ethereum does. I'm saying Ethereum is the NASDAQ. It literally is the NASDAQ. Comes down, comes up. And there is a bit of a strategy that you can take. Every candlestick that you see, especially the tick charts, every time you see a candlestick and it moves down with Ethereum, there's a good chance that it's going to try and shoot back up. If you can take a trade on that candlestick low, okay, where you assume the low to be, then you might be able to exploit it, okay? But like, for example, here, I'd probably try and run a short from that candlestick high, okay? So right now I'm looking at it thinking, okay, could I run the short? Okay, bang, run the short, hypothetically, from this point right here. Hypothetically, run a short from there, okay? And that is on the premise that it's going to come back down again because the candle, I know that they're in this trend to go down. So imagine my short is here right now, okay? See how they keep coming up to come down again. There's a wall here. Something's going off, which makes me believe that they're going to continue with this move lower. Try and make it happen. Might need to get out of this just in case. Because it doesn't sustain the idea of going back up again because they're going lower. So in a markdown phase, this candle would have to go all the way up towards my entry, which it pretty much is right now. Typical if they hit the imbalance and then they go back up again. Bitcoin's coming back up. Need to wait and see if they can do it. There's an imbalance up there. I've got to be careful. That is quite a lot of offers there. See if they can do it. Meeting bid resistance. Bitcoin's resisting that 50 EMA. Paying close attention to these orders here. Knowing my luck, this is the point where Ethereum goes up towards 4,000. Okay, so they made a lower high at that point, selling off at that range. Okay, that's fair enough. So now we're effectively looking for them to just invalidate this area. But there's a lot of support that could come in at any instance in this zone. So I'm waiting to see if they can actually go and attack that. Here she goes. Down to these imbalances. You'll eat those imbalances going into value area low. Bitcoin rejecting red vector. It's picking up steam. Here we go. It's going to keep going now. Probably going to rush down towards that area. This is the biggest area here. That's logically where the biggest amount of liquidity is. So logic says that we would naturally expect them to try and go down into that point. That imbalance up there they could take. Very light. You can see it's very light across the board in terms of contract sizes. That's why it comes down, shoots up, comes down. Going into the vector candle. At any moment, they could actually reverse from here. This is the vector candle block principle that they could be coming into. I really need to see Bitcoin reject this zone and Ethereum. Seems like it's a very controlled move down. They keep coming up to reject that range. There is such an imbalance here. Logic says that you'd want to see them recover this whole imbalance. I expect them to. It might take a little while. Let's see. That is just a bizarre move there. Red vector candle, and then that candlestick closes so strongly above it. It could be the start of the move up, back up again. It is forming a W formation, so I've got to be very careful with this. But looking at the time that I'm trading at as well, that could be a reason for them to move up. Yep, Bitcoin's moving up. Theme's not really following through. Yeah, I'm probably, yeah. I just need to wait and see if they can actually reject and give me a wick. If they can give me a wick, then I'm okay. It's too much of a fast move up, that is. Way too fast. Hardly any offers. It's going to trigger the bids. Market memory. Bids there. We assume the bids to reject that range. You've got to visualize the market being like a magnet. Opposites attract kind of thing. Hits that point, then it's going to come back down again. That's the logic. Look, no offers, no bids. It's very light volumes. Probably a shitty time to be trading. Pause. Knew it. Knew it. Knew it. Knew it. Yeah, we're going back into that. Might not be a good story for me. Lots of bids there. Big 12K bid they offer there. Very interesting. Bitcoin rejecting. So that's good news for me. So as long as Bitcoin's rejecting that, that's going to be the rejection of the 50 EMA on Ethereum. Did it once, did it twice, 3 times is going to be the lucky charm. Coming into that range right there. Markets memory, bid collections, rollover. Time we on 3 minutes until the start of a new 30-minute candle. We've got to pay attention to that. Lots of offers coming into play. So historically, you see offers up, roll over. Offers up, try and roll it over. That's the logic. Some big bid was there. So we're waiting to see if they can actually reject this. Here we go. Can we make the move back down again? There is very sharp reversal from that point. So that tells me the market's memory is being triggered. There's bids in there to mark it lower. You see bids there. Bids here. Bids here. See those bids there? That's what I'm looking at. And the idea is the bids are coming to get collected here to roll over into that imbalance. So tap the imbalance, reversal, go back down again. It's all about how Bitcoin sustains this range. These 2 wicks here needs to stay below those points. That's a nice sharp reversal from that point. So we assume the bids are going to come in now, market low, and it'll be pretty fast as well. Look at the points of control for each candlestick. It's at the highs, at the highs, at the highs. They're getting trapped. So now, there you go. And this is where the dominance of the candle of the movement comes in. Look at the point of control there. Shift lower. If it increases any more, happy days. Okay? That's where the bids aggressively push the candle and cut below these candle point of controls. So this is where they're losing the ground. Look at this. This should be the move that marks it towards this imbalance because of how fast they've rejected and come away from this bid zone. Bitcoin, I really need to see them break this low. Bitcoin needs to continue. Ethereum looks like it's going to try and do it. Point of control just changed again from 117.50 to 295.482. So it's a very interesting zone. Let's see if they can do it, and it should pick up steam going into the value area. Here we go. Remember what we said about that area there? That's what we're looking for, and I want to see them get to it as fast as they can. I ain't got the time to sit and wait for Ethereum to bounce about like NASDAQ. Here we go. Get there as fast as you can. Another imbalance zone. Red vector, and red vector needs to be created at some point. Give me a red vector candle. Actually, I don't want a red vector candle as it tries to... there it is. There's the red vector candle. Problem is the next candle could bring it back up. So they need to really come away from this zone to recover this imbalance zone. That's what I'm looking for. Bitcoin needs to keep going lower. Come on, speed up. There she is. No vector on Bitcoin. That's good news. There is one on Ethereum, so I'm not happy with that. Keep going. Keep going. Keep marking. Keep marking. Where are we at right now? Here we go. She's making the move. 3, 2, 1. Keep going. Do I have a reason to sell? Yes, I do. Get out. Okay, then, cool. So that was the trade right there. So 1,000, so 240, yeah, $250 on the fees, 1,900, take away, walk away. Okay. And you know what? It can keep going down. I don't give a shit. I don't care because I challenged myself at this point. I'm reading the market at this point. Some of you might think, yeah, but you're just leaving profits on the table. Who the fuck knows that was going to be the case? I don't know. But if I see this now going into that point, I know in the future that I'm going to come to this situation, exactly the same situation yet again. And I'm going to have the same mindset. I'm going to see the same thing. I'm going to trade the same logic. And if my entry is relatively close, or should I say further away, I will hold it. Okay. But I don't trust the market. It can shoot all the way. Look at these imbalances here. It can shoot all the way back up and shake me out. I'm not happy about that. I'm not interested in that. I don't like that story. But I narrated the idea of where I expected it to go. And if I can take a small sample of a move, I've done it. I win. Okay? I was in the right direction. I was reading. Look at that rejection up there. Why did we understand that rejection point? Okay? Now it could come all the way back down again, guys. I mean, look, beautiful, but I'm happy with that approach. Okay? I hope that makes sense for you.